Hi guys, I'm going to be reading a page from Tink, North of Neverland. At last she saw a thin red glow on the horizon. Tink guided the carry down to the edge of the small clearing. She tied the cord to a tree root to anchor it. Under the shelter of the wild rose bush, she unrolled her basket. She plucked a blossom to use as a pillow, and curled up on a leaf. Finally, she slept. The sun had been up for hours when Tink opened her eyes. She heard the sound of the waves breaking on the beach. I must be near the ocean, she thought sleepily. In an instant she was wide awake. The sound could mean only one thing. She had reached the northern shore. But how was that possible? Tink wondered. Surely the northern shore was still at least a day's flight away. As she darted up into the air until she could see over the tops of the trees, the blue-green water shimmered in the distance. "The ocean!" cried Tink. She raced back to her camp and chucked the compass needle. It pointed towards the water. She did a joyful little dance. She had made it to the northern shore. Quickly she ate her dried blueberries and washed it down with water from the canteen. She had packed everything into the basket and took off through the forest. The sounds of the surf grew louder. Up ahead, she got a glimpse of the blue sky between the trees. "Almost there!" She imaged into the sunlight. For a moment she hovered, blinking. After the shaded forest, the brightness was blinding. Over the splash of the waves, she could hear a different noise, like a melody. "It sounds as if someone was singing," thought Tink. As her eyes got used to the light, Tink looked around. Soft white sand surrounded a mile each direction. Blue water glistened lapping the shore. Coconut palms rustled in the breeze. Tink thought, this beach seems familiar. Then she saw it. Strange out at the sea, a large seaweed-covered rock rose from the water. A lovely woman sat on top. Her long tail was glistening, scaly, curled down one side of the rock. Tink's heart sank. The creature on the rock was a mermaid, and the song she heard was the mermaid song. She never had reached the northern shore at all. This was Mermaid Lagoon, on less than an hour's flight from Pixie Hollow. Tink flew strictly with flutter. But how? She wailed. She had checked the compass over and over again. Always had gone north, in the direction that the needle pointed. So how had she come to Mermaid Lagoon? Everyone in Neverland knew it was the opposite side of the island. Tink dropped to the ground. How could she had been so stupid? Of course, the compass would be useless on Neverland. for although a compass always points north, the island turns in whatever direction it wanted. Unlike most islands, Neverland floated freely in the ocean. The night before, as Tink had floated steadily north, Neverland had turned itself around, so she had ended up back where she had started. Northern Shore? What a stupid name! Tink groaned. Whoever thought it should be pitch black and blue? And as for this piece of junk, in a fitted rage, Tink hurled the compass over the sea and threw it in. With a splash, it vanished beneath the waves. Tink flew back to shore and fluttered herself down on the sand. She took off in a yearning of cry. "I won't give up," she told herself. "I will get to the northern shore if I have to fly for a week." Tink's will was like a pot she fixed. It was made of iron. She had never failed before, and she wasn't this time neither. Her mind was made up. Tink stood and reached for the carrying cord, but it wasn't there. She spun around. The carrier wasn't nowhere in sight. Looking up, she spotted in the high end of the sky, in a rage of the compass, she had forgotten to tie it down. As Tink watched, the carrier drifted over the top, and towering palm trees, and was gone. Tink cluttered in her head in horror. She had lost the entire balloon carrier. What would the Queen say if she knew? What would Terence think? But the carrier wasn't all she lost. Her food was gone, her water was gone. She'd have to find her own from here on. Luckily, she had kept her fairy dust with her. Tink checked her supplies. The figure she had 4 days' worth at least. Now she was more demanded than ever to find the pixie dust from the pixie dust tree. She had to prove that her journey had been worth it. She set off flying through the woods. It was easier traveling by day. She knew that as long as she kept Taurus Mountain on her right, she was heading the right way. Tink flew all morning. When her shoulders ached too much to go on, she stopped beside a small spring. She took a long drink of cool water, then sat back to rest. She thought about the journey ahead, when she would have to pass through miles of forest, dark, shadowy forest. Tink thought of the river, where I could run into a tree snake, or an owl, or some other scary creature. A monster could snap a fairy up in a single bite. Tink shook her head. What was wrong with her? She hadn't been afraid of the forest before. Back in the days of Peter Pan, she had lived for adventure like this. But also, but Also, many things had gone wrong this time. Possums, the compass, the balloon carrier. She had made many mistakes. Maybe she had been wrong to come on this journey by herself. Tink stood, brushed away, and thought, I need something to eat, she told herself. After a snack, I'll feel fit as a fiddlehead fern again. Downstream she spawned a gooseberry bush, heavily glossing berries. She had flew it over it. Tink was wrestling with the gooseberry, trying to tug it from its stem, when she suddenly had the feeling she was being watched. She dropped the berry and ducked into the bush. She encountered with the possum was fresh in her mind. She scanned the forest. Not a single leaf moved. Even the air was still. There was nothing. No, wait, there! A pair of fox ears poked from behind a hollow log. Tink gasped. A fox would eat a fairy if it was hungry enough. Her muscles tightened. She prepared to dart away. The ears lifted, but they wasn't attacking to a fox. Breathing them was the boy, a face of a boy. Seriously, Tink cried. Seriously, holding her fingers to her lips. But it was too late. There was a flash of green as something swooped down from above, and stood before them stood Peter Pan. So that's just a little taste of Tink's northern trip to the north of Neverland. Hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you all later. Bye.